Khai Wu, Uriah Faber's A1 Combat 5, September 3rd. You'll be returning. How did you get hooked up with this fight? I'm pretty sure that this fight will be on Fight Pass, right?
Yeah, so originally it was man, there's been a lot of stuff that's happened, but how I got in contact with the promoter was originally it was called Firepower Promotions. Chad Shepard is the one that was the matchmaker back then. And then him and another buddy, I forgot his buddy's name, but I was supposed to fight for them. Saw him at a local promotion. He was like, "Yeah, you're gonna headline over our cards." Things fell off, but Uriah, I believe, I don't know. I think he bought him out. I'm not sure what happened, how their businesses went, but basically, Uriah now owns the promotion, and then he changed it from Firepower to A1. So that's kind of how it happened. And he's been trying to find me a fight since. We've had a few fall throughs. Some fights where there's one where I had COVID, another one where my opponent had COVID, a bunch of opponent changes. So yeah, we're here now.
Definitely, yeah. I see that you did have a fight lined up for July 31st, but Ron Becker, what happened to that fight?
I believe he messaged me. He actually said he hurt his shoulder, and then we rescheduled for this show. And then like 3 weeks ago, he says he got COVID. So just fell through. It was very unfortunate.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate. And did you change management as well in the past year?
Yeah, so my former management took the owner took a leave of hiatus. I don't know for how long, but MMA is a very individual sport. I told him, I said, "Hey, if you're gonna come back in about a year and you're down to like come back into the sport and do whatever, I'm with you. But if not, may I get your blessings and can I leave on good terms to go somewhere else?" And I always cover my bases. I don't burn any bridges. And we had great communication and it was perfect. So now I'm with Upgrade, and I believe they also possibly may have thrown my name to Upgrade. Julian too. Shout out to him. Super nice. Gave me a call when we signed. Not a lot of agencies send like the head guy to call you, and sit down and chat with you and stuff. But he did, and I appreciate that. And he's been sticking by me, so he's great.
Yeah, Julian, shout out to him, man, at Upgrade. He's very, very good at his job and effective. And that's what you want
Hey,
out of a manager, someone that's effective.
yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Back to the fight. Joshua Dillion. His record is 3-2. He has some good wins, man. Some good performances. What is your breakdown of him?
I'll be honest. After the past year of just not being able to get fights, or like just timing was wrong, injuries, all sorts of stuff, I no longer really look. Because if I look too hard at this guy and then he something happens, my opponent change. I mean, it's been happening, so I can't shake off this bad luck or whatever. So yeah, answer to that question is I haven't really looked him up too much other than like he's an aggressive striker and a decent wrestler. That's all I need to know. If he's an aggressive striker, work on your striking defense. If he's a wrestler, then work on my wrestling more, counter and offensive wrestling. But ultimately, it's like, what are my holes in my game? And as long as I plug those up, I should be able to fight any human being on earth, as I progress into my career. So that's how I kind of look at it as. I didn't really do too much like studying on this guy. But I just know this guy has just won two fights, three fights in a row now, or two fights in a row. So that's all I need to know. He has all the momentum in the world. He's feeling himself, and he thinks he could take on someone with more of a. I'm about to hit my 10th fight, so he definitely thinks he's ready for that step up in competition. And for me, it's just getting back into the swing of things. Honestly, I just haven't been able to get consistent fights. But now for me, now that I head into my 10th fight, it's no longer about getting quantity. Like every year I need to fight 6 7 times. It's now more about like just getting quality fights. Build a good camp, train for that, and then prepare for that. So that's kind of like what my new plan is.
With fights falling out and you switching your mindset a little bit to where you don't study your opponents too deep. You know about them, but you don't study. Has that been beneficial in the last year of training?
I would say so. I mean, there's like you have to constantly adapt. That's honestly the name of the game ever since COVID happened. It's just been adapting. Like nothing has gone according to plan. And as I get older, I'm like, you just got to roll with the punches. Instead of complaining about it, which I did for a while, I had to sit down, talk with management, friends, family, just people I care about their opinions. Um, we just sat down and talked and was like, you know what? instead of waiting for things and trying to force things to happen. Let's take what we can get and do the best with what we got, you know? So that's kind of like the mindset going into these.
Do you ever get frustrated with it's hard not to compare yourself to other guys that maybe started around when you started or are at the same level as you, but they're getting certain opportunities compared to yourself. Does that frustrate you? Has it frustrated you?
Um, like I use it's a weird example, but when I wake up first thing in the morning, you're kind of groggy, you know, you're not all there. You kind of think of stuff like that, you know. It's like your reaction is there, but after you had some time to cool down in the heat of the moment, no. The answer is eventually no. And what I mean by that is some on my worst days, I'll probably look at that and be like, man, this guy's getting this and that. But also I need to like remember to like, you know, my whole thing was to never compare myself to other opponents. It's just like, dude, I need instead of me getting a better armbar than this guy or that guy, it's just like just be you, man. Just be the best version of you possible. Work on your all your skills. Get as good as you possibly can, and then whoever they put in front of you, like if you're that good, you should be able to beat them. You should be able to solve that problem, you know? So that's kind of like where I'm at. So I see these people, honestly, I'm kind of happy because I'm like the the talent pool and the I want to say like the business for MMA has exploded bigger than ever. I would be more concerned if like none of these guys that are doing well, or like you know some of the guys I started out with are doing like somewhat worse or you know whatnot for business. I'm like, man, the MMA business is tough. But now it's like, oh, they're just really good. And but the platform for us to get there is so much larger now. You know, like with all these deals and during COVID, how MMA was dealt with during COVID, it was great. UFC stayed around. So honestly, like I'm happy for them. Like a lot of these guys, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. For all those people that you know claim that this is like war and life, I don't know. That's a little extreme for me. The way I see it is that's great. You know, Hamzat's cool and everything, but I feel like a lot of it that is at the end of the day persona because when they're not on camera, they're some different person. You know, that's in my opinion.
Your last fight, man, it was more than a year ago at Colorado Combat Club. You know, you snapped a win streak, man. It wasn't your best performance. What were your thoughts? Like, you've had some time to stew over it. What do you think about what happened?
Um, man, definitely a learning lesson that I'm glad I got now as opposed to later on, because on paper I should have had that fight. And if you watch the fight, it was pretty dominant first round, just me being all over the guy. But my teammate went and fought there and said the exact same thing as me. Is we didn't account for the elevation. That's the one thing we none of us accounted for. And I talked to some of the higher level coaches, strength conditioning coaches, that either are there, I reached out there after because I thought I was going to fight for them again. I still might. You never know. I'm just saying it just doesn't make sense for me to move there for like a short duration to get a fight at that level when everything else is open. But I talked to a lot of coaches as I was preparing for a comeback and whatnot, and they're like, man, there's a reason why the Olympic athletes come and train here too. We have a like Olympic training centers because the elevation's ridiculous, you know? Like you can't and they're like, you can't come like the time you came to acclimate was like the worst. You try to come a week and a half to 2 weeks out, which is the worst because your body's not fully acclimated yet and you're still cutting weight and you know you didn't do it correctly. And flat out, you could tell by my fight it was not a skill issue. It was just I've never felt this vulnerable before too. I remember talking to my coach round two coming out. I was even on the stool. I don't remember a single instruction my coach gave me because I was just like my legs felt like they're bloodshot. Like just someone got two big old needles, injected blood in my legs, and I couldn't move. Round two, I came out. I didn't even move forward. You could just see I kind of stayed back. He shot a double, and I've never felt like I gave up such an easy double before. But you know, it's just like such a good learning lesson. I'm like, man, I should have known. So now I know. Now it's like I take advantage of training at high elevations and whatnot. I even went to Montana in Big Sky, which is like 8,000 elevation, which is different, like even higher, like 3,000, 4,000 higher than Colorado. And that was like an eye opener. So I'm really excited that I was able to kind of learn that. As frustrating as it is, I don't know. Life has given me different outlooks. I used to think fighting was everything, my 4 5 wins, you know, this and that. Now I'm like, man, I'm just happy I'm healthy because I had so many friends. A little bit of a darker theme here, but I had a lot of friends that, you know, friends and family that ended up having cancer, passing away, certain things like that. So it just put things in perspective for me. Like fighting, it sucks, that I lost that fight when I shouldn't have. But at the end of the day, like I'm happy, I'm healthy. Like would I have another? I live to fight another day.
What's crazy is that you're probably down about your what is it, your performance, but then a couple months later you go viral with this video of being a good Samaritan, man. How was that? How was it going viral? Because I know we talked about it off camera a little bit, but how was it now that you sit back and look at that?
I think it was hilarious as at the time. Like, I didn't even want to post it. Again, I never wanted to post it. It wasn't until someone very close to me was like, you know what? Times are tough right now for like the Asian community here. Like, you should post it. It's not you. Like, you're not being arrogant. Like you're educating people because a lot of people always go like, well, why didn't you knock him out? Or some people on the extreme was like, he was just drunk, and I'm like, yeah, but it was an educational video. But I didn't expect to get the coverage it did. My whole purpose was just to tell people like, if the news can put so much negativity out there every single day about like this crime, that crime, the biasness in the news, why can't I give my opinion on what happened that day and do things the way I want to do it? Because everyone always goes, oh, the people that are attacking the Asian community is this race. You only see this race. I'm like, all right, well, I'll do my thing. Like, I'm not bought by anyone. No one like buys out like, I'm not a news media outlet. No one funds me. I wish someone gave me money for that video, but they didn't. So instead I was just like, I'm gonna use this video for educational purposes, and it connected me with a lot of other people. And shout out to Ronnie Chang, the comedian, Jason Tobin, the guy from Warrior.
Yeah.
They followed me after that, and I chatted up with them all the time. It's almost like they respected that. They're like, oh, that's tight. And it's so cool because these guys are like super friendly. And you just gotta not treat them like they are who they are. But I told her, I told Jason, I was like, man, my dad never watches TV shows, but he watched The Warrior from season 1 all the way through, and me and him actually, that's our bonding time.
Yeah.
And I like sent him a little message, and he was like, yo, that's so cool, man. Like, we got to train when we get together one day. And I'm like, dude, this is super awesome. So that opportunity kind of gave me more doors open. I had like Bachan sauce, that Japanese sauce brand, send me like a ridiculous amount of sauce. I'm like, what?
Oh.
Like they wouldn't take no for an. By the way, they wouldn't take no for an answer. They're a great company. I said, you guys don't have to send me anything. Do not send me anything. Like, I'm cool. I wanted to help. They're like, you know what? I want to send this to you out of the kindness of our heart because what you did for the community and what how you handled the video, we just think it's awesome, please. And I was like, man, you guys are awesome. So I got to give them a shout out. And also the fish sauce company, man, they're great too. They sent me some stuff. There's just, people are just kind of coming together. Like that video just brought a lot of people together. Just kind of like, hey, that's great. We don't have to get in a fight. And you could kind of read between the lines too. A lot of people were like, you should have knocked him. I should have done this. And I would have done that. I'm like, you could see how pent up these people are, and that video kind of gave them an opportunity to go, hey, you don't have to get in a fight to de-escalate a situation. So I'm glad that eventually ended up happening. Combate president followed me on Twitter, LFA president followed me on Instagram, and I'm like, hey, you guys want to fight, need a fighter, maybe one day we could do it. So that was really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. And the reason why I bring it up is because you handled it without violence. Like most of the videos you see people attacking, being attacked, or counterattacking, basically.
Yeah.
And it's always violence, right? But this one, there was no violence. You use words to calm the situation, which is good, man. I feel like a lot of young kids out there watch the video and say like, hey, that's a way to handle it. You don't have to fight like physically, because everybody can't fight, man. Most 99% people cannot fight at all. They just swing their arms around and see if they could hit the target. But anyways.
And on top of that too, sorry, just to add in, like on top of that, even if you did get into a fight, we're trained MMA fighters. We're not trained in a boba shop with hot pot next to you fighters, So like, I could have double legged him. What happens if he had a weapon? What happens if he knocked over a hot pot and would have spilt onto some of the kids or the older adults there? So it's like, people got to realize like, you may be trained, but like it doesn't mean you know everything. So then I would just try to de-escalate it. But yeah, I agree. It was a good video to show that you don't have to use violence.
Yeah, man, and positivity, breeds positivity. So a lot of the celebrities and I know people that are not celebrities are probably reaching out to you as well, just giving you props for what you did. But it can lead to other things in the world, man. You were doing your thing in Taiwan before the whole pandemic happened. Has there been any like acting roles, or like the Asian community comes together?
Well, I gotta give you a shout out because you shared the video on Twitter, man, and it blew up. So you definitely helped there. But in terms of like, there's a few cool projects that I'm a part of. But I'm not really like, um, it's not like an acting thing, but I just had a few cool projects I'm a
Yeah.
part of now, which is super cool. But Taiwan, yeah, there's always stuff going down. They're just waiting for me to go back. But Taiwan is just so locked up still. They're having a show, I believe, October 20 something. I don't think I can make it, and I don't even think they're allowing pros to fight yet because they have to come over and quarantine. It's just too much. So I've kind of put that on the back burner right now, but I still get a lot of messages about people asking me to sell merch. So as of right now, I'm actually coming out with some merch in Taiwan for the fans there, and then for the people here that want to support me for my upcoming fight, I have like some new T-shirt designs made and whatnot. It's been long enough. My last fight shirt was like in 2019. So it's been a very long time. So I'm back on that stuff, and nothing will help me more than just this win. Like just
Yeah.
getting back on the winning track, win this fight, take the year off, and then just go from there.
I got a T-shirt idea for you. It's called Boba Shop Fight Club, and then it's you.
Like,
Yeah, it's you in the middle of the shirt, like in your like stance, in your Khai Wu stance, and then there's like a table with a hot pot brewing, and then some couple people in the back all angry, and you're trying to calm the situation down, right? Come on, let's put that on a T-shirt and sell that.
Boba Fight Shop, is that what you said?
Yeah, Boba Shop Fight Club.
Boba Shop Fight Club. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, you
I'm
gotta
gonna
do it,
write
man.
that down. That's an idea.
You get one of those made, you send me a few.
I
I'll wear
got you.
those. Easy.
I literally wrote it down just now. Boba Shop
Exactly, because
Fight.
that's the thing, Boba,
That's
right?
hilarious.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great idea. That's awesome.
Do your thing, man. A1 combat, man. You're returning to action. You're gonna be in that cage again. Like, what are you expecting out of yourself? You know what I mean? Because right now it seems like you're just focused on yourself. You're not even worried about the opponent. The opponent can change last minute. You probably don't really care. You just want to compete and get back in the winning column.
Yeah. I just want to. What people can expect is I just want to show an overall more developed MMA game. My last fight, you saw more ground fighting out of me than most of my career. And the reason why is because I was that confident in my ground game. And round one was a complete domination. Like by not, I mean, if anyone watches that fight, the round one was just a major increase in my skill set, like just opening up my game. But now it's like I've even further improved. There's certain positions where I could have pinned him on the ground more, land more ground and pound. It's like all that's just instead of cramming that into a 3 month fight camp, it's been since then till now. So you can only imagine how much better I've tried to develop my skill set, and also understanding strength conditioning, the whole cardio aspect because of the elevation thing, developing, just kind of delving deeper in there, and then just being more understanding of how the body works and energy systems there. So you should be able to see a little bit higher, faster pace with me, more like a higher output, and also I think I've been just working on creating more power from a shorter amount of space. So I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a clean knockout from me this time instead of just a TKO. You might just be a one hitter quitter. I I I have developed that strength. So I'm curious. I haven't gone 100% in the gym yet in sparring, but the fight will give me allow me to do that. And I'm very grateful for that opportunity. And it's cool that Uriah Faber's doing the promotion too. And my first amateur fight ever was in Sacramento, so it's just cool how it's come full circle. For my 10th one, I'm back in Sacramento.
Definitely September 3rd, like you said, Sacramento, A1 Combat 5, Khai Wu, UFC Fight Pass. Appreciate the time and all the best in the fight. And yeah, man. Man, getting back after so long, you must be, pent up a little bit.
I would be lying if I said I wasn't, but no, I'm excited. I'm more excited than anything. It's just it's time.